Well, how are we doing, everyone? This is Bob Gums, and we are the Concerned Forum. Oh, God. It seems like a lot has happened since the last time we did a tape a week ago. And I tell you, quite frankly, it really scares the living hell out of me, to be honest about it. I did not intend to lead off with this at first. Unfortunately, I think that the seriousness of the situation is such that we definitely need to speak on it. Now, I see things going on now that I cannot believe. I can't believe that we have elected Republican officials running around. You know what? This noise that I keep getting out of my cell phone, because I also have, I have my timer on, right? And the noise that you keep hearing, it is from Donald Trump. This bastard is trying, he is steadily trying to raise money. And on the one hand, it makes me angry as hell. On the other hand, it's kind of funny in a sad kind of way, because I know the people that he is trying to suck money out of. Working people who I don't mean to be insulting, but folks that really don't know any better. Because if you knew anything about Donald Trump, you wouldn't give him a dime. And that's a large problem with this country, because we have so many people who are what I would call poisoned of heart, okay? In other words, they have a lot of hate in them. That all Trump did, he took a look at them and he said, well, yeah, I can get these suckers to do anything that I want, because I hate brown people, I hate Hispanic people, or put it this way, I detest them. So when I go out and I tell these people in the red state of America that I detest people coming across the border, hey, they'll fall right into my pockets, and that's exactly what's happened. And it is sad. So between him and that Fox network, democracy has we're having a very difficult time in this country. And, we're talking about trying to get movement. Everybody wants to have a movement, all right? There needs to be an international movement against Fox Network. They got one or two different names for it in Europe, but if you notice, that company, that corporation, they do the same thing. They go into democratic nations and they try to destabilize the democracies, just like in France, for example. They have one in England. They're the ones that help the Brits make one big mistake, because Britain is usually cool, but we all make mistakes. And I know the Brits realize it now. They're going about correcting it. They got that clown, former prime minister. They got rid of him. I don't know what they're going to do about Brexit, but I know that the intelligent people over there are going to try and figure out something. They were so quick, I call it the Fox network type, like we got here in America. They raised so much hell that, yeah, we got Brexit. A lot of people, see, that's the problem. And that's the problem that we also have here in America. You got to take these elections seriously. You have to take politics seriously. I don't give a damn how much you like or dislike your politician, your local politician. Don't care. To hell with him or her. You have to be involved, or at the very least, you have to be knowledgeable about politics for your benefit and for your family and friends' benefit. See? Because when you're not, that's when, the things that affect your life, that is when they happen. See? Just like this whole business about choice versus anti-choice. Most people didn't even think about it, and especially those that said, well, hey, I'm anti-abortion, I'm anti-choice. You know what? You have less of those type of people out there now that they have seen what anti-choice means. It means that you force 10-year-old girls to have the child of their rapist. See, that's what it means to be anti-choice, right? Now, that's insane, okay? And this whole choice, no choice, religion ain't got a damn thing to do with it, to be quite frank about it. It's more a question about, number one, your health, number two, your individual conscience. But that's essentially where it stops. There's nothing, you don't see anything about abortion in the New Testament. I am not an expert on the Old Testament, but I haven't heard anything about abortion in the Old Testament either. See? That's number one. Number two, we don't live our lives according to the so-called good book. It is a symbol, okay? It is not the be-all and end-all. And see, that's another problem that we have in this country. The founding fathers never said a damn word about this being a Christian nation, okay? It's made up of all types of people with all types of different beliefs. And that's why the 10 Amendments, the Bill of Rights, that's why that's so important in a nation like ours, the flag and the Bill of Rights. Because, see, the flag and what it stands for is what joins us together as a nation. The Bill of Rights says that, no matter how wacky things get, things that are basic to my existence, my freedom, my right to speak, okay, my right to believe or not to believe in the supreme or spiritual being. That's mine, you see. And see, that's the problem with what's happened with the Republican Party of today. Frankly, they used to talk about America, love it or leave it. Well, this is the first time in my life that I find that statement to be true. Because this present Republican Party, they definitely need to leave America. Although I don't know where the hell they would go, because I don't think there's a country on the planet that would put up with the present makeup of today's Republican Party. They damn sure couldn't go to Europe. Maybe they could go to Russia. But I think they would find themselves very disenchanted after a while, But see, that's the problem that we have in this country. You have a party that basically their members don't believe in democracy, see? Or put it this way, the people who are basically calling the shots in today's Republican Party, they don't believe in democracy. You know, it's as simple as that. And they also want to carry their idea of who is human, because that's what it really boils down to. I mean, if you can't look at another person and see just that, another person, and being able to see that without saying, well, oh, that yellow person, or that red person, or that brownish person, or that very black or dark brownish person. If you can't see them as people like yourselves, entitled to the same sunlight that you enjoy, that's where we have problems. All the hell that was raised when Obama got himself elected. You know, it was disgusting, quite frankly. Now, as I said, I was raised in a Republican family, born and raised, okay? But at that time, the Republican Party, you had an overwhelming majority of decent people, maybe a little antiquated or old-fashioned in certain respects, but they weren't backwards. Hell, it was the Republican Party under Eisenhower that gave us our highway system, that helped us to be able to win the space race. But that's not today's Republican Party. These guys who call the shots for this party now, these are people, I suspect that they always had like Nazi tendencies, you know, like watching World War II movies. These were the guys that, they probably always cheered for the Nazi soldiers and not the Americans, right? But they kept that to themselves. See, the only thing that Donald Trump did, he exploited our weaknesses. All right, that's mainly what he's good at. That's all he's good for, because other than that, he's not worth a damn. And I think even he knows that. But what he was able to do, he was able to find all of the haters, the bigots, the woman haters, and basically he was able to help them to coalesce. And he basically said, hey, that's okay. I love you. The rest of those clowns, they despise you, but I love you. Of course, he never went into the reason why these people were despised, but that's okay, because we see what has happened now to our society here in America. We have grown-ass men, politicians, elected officials, senators. You know, that name, that title used to mean something. A senator, you know, makes you think of the glories of ancient Rome. Well, unfortunately, here in America, the term senator has, I don't know, denigrated to party hack, quite frankly. When you have senators and representatives, congresspeople, who say, oh, well, beware of the IRS. They're going to have long guns, and they're going to come to your little middle-class house in the suburbs and shoot you down. Now, why would any grown man in the year 2022 say something as stupid and as ugly as that? Unless, of course, they figure if they keep saying it long enough that there are enough stupid people out there that will actually believe it, and that they will go out, some of them will actually go out and do the same terrible, stupid thing that idiot that attacked the FBI office with a nail gun, and then leads them on an O.J. Simpson chase out to the backwoods or some crap out there, and then he's going to pull an AR-15. Well, that just tells me that this guy had other issues, and that he felt the best way to cure those issues was to kill himself. Only he didn't have the guts to kill himself by himself, so he decided to let law enforcement do the job for him. And they did. And a good job they did also. Because, see, that could have been my dad, that could have been your dad, that could have been my friend, that could have been your friend, your wife, your sister, your brother, you, or myself. And this idiot decides that, well, they attacked Trump, so I'm going to attack them. You know, they say in politics that you shouldn't call people stupid, especially the voters. Okay. I had originally meant to talk about all the good things that Biden has done with the Democrats' help, passing bills, putting money in people's pockets, helping them with their health care, so they won't die because of the fact they couldn't afford to go to the hospital or to get meds. I might talk about that a little bit, but unfortunately, we have this other thing. And this other thing, as I've already mentioned, is the fact that you have people who are stupid enough to believe anything that Donald Trump says. Now, what gives me the right to say that? I'm a native New Yorker. We have had to deal with the Trump family, at least to my recollection, at least since the 60s. And it's been a real pain in the ass. And that's the thing that really freaks me out. The fact that these people in these red states, all right, they talk so much about, oh, you're smart ass because you come from New York and you went to college somewhat and you think you're better than us. You think you're an elitist. Hey, man, I come out the projects and the tenements. I'm nobody's elitist, okay? But I got enough sense not to trust a flim-flam artist. And that's exactly what you folks in red state America did not do. And see, that's why I tell people, all Trump had to do was appeal to your hatred. And half of you fools are ready to basically throw away your country, ready to throw away all the pain, the suffering of people trying to build a decent society with a decent quality of life, with respect for every man, woman, and child. And you're willing to throw that away for Donald Trump. Julius Caesar? Hey, I have to think about it. But Donald Trump? Oh, for God's sake, come on. And then you got his little me, that clown in Florida, that DeSantis. This guy, he sees himself as Hitler in the making. You can only say what I say is okay to say. You can only think what I say is okay for you to think. I don't give a damn what the history books say. We're going to have our own history here in the state of Florida. You know, this election, both of these elections coming up, the one in November and the one in 24, really what they are, it's not about Biden, it's not about Trump, it's not about any make-believe Trump like DeSantis. It's not about any of those people. It should be about what's her name, Lynn Cheney, quite frankly. She has more testimonies than any of those Republican men, quite frankly. But it's not as good as strong as she is. And mind you now, very few things in life I would agree with Miss Cheney on. But I respect her love for the Constitution. And I respect her love for the truth. And quite frankly, even her, elections are not going to be about her or any of those people I mentioned. It's going to be about you, the American citizen, and what you are about and what you believe in. And as much bloodshed as Trump has caused, as much heartache as he has caused, maybe this is fate's way of testing us. You know, we told the world how great we are. We told the world about how our love of freedom and all this other good stuff. Well, we're being put to the test. Seriously. And I really hate this. Now, I'm a registered Democrat, but I hate the idea of putting freedom on the same level as a political party, right? John McCain was a Republican, but he believed in America. He believed in freedom. So that's basically where I'm coming from with this. Because unfortunately, right now, you have one party that believes in democracy, and that's the Democratic Party. And yeah, I know. Believe me, I've had more than the night yelling at the TV, oh, that damn Pelosi, why don't she do so and so? Okay? And God knows I have driven my local elected Democratic politicians up the wall with my calling and complaining. But when you get right down to it, the way things are now, you got one chance, America, and that's the Democratic Party. And that means the Democratic Party, they're not perfect, okay? But they still believe in this country. I see Republicans, I see like this lady here in New York State. What's her name? Sankovich, however you pronounce it. I understand she used to be a pretty decent lady. But she has become a professional hate monger. Donald Trump is her god. And that's so sad. I really want to get the opportunity to discuss this whole thing about takeover theory or makeover theory. The idea that people of color in this country are trying to replacement theory. You know, like we want to replace white people. And that's a lie. Anyone telling you that, they have their own objective. Number one, they want to get their hands in your pocket. Okay? Number two, they want to see about getting into a political office, and they feel the best way they can get you to vote for them is to get you angry. See? So they take advantage of the fact that most of you on the Republican side, all you do is watch Fox. So they tell you any old BS that they think will work, right? Replacement theory. CRT. You want to turn my son into a gay person. You know, you want to indoctrinate my 4-year-old kid in nursery school. You know, and they tell you this crap. And sadly, a lot of you fall for it. And in the end, if they have their way, we won't have a country. We won't have an America where your vote counts. You see? That's what this is all about. And you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to some of them speak. Oh, well, democracy doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has a chance to vote. Now, that's what some of them clowns are saying. You still have people, and they're in the Republican Party. That's the Republican Party over the last 20 years. These are the type of people that they have attracted. Don't tell me about Big Tent, okay? People judge you by the company that you keep. And I know your mom told you that. And see, that's how we have to judge this Republican Party of today. This is not Mr. Lincoln's party anymore. That passed away quite some time ago. The next Republican that stands up and says, yes, we're the party of Lincoln, Lincoln's family should sue him because they're telling the damn lie. And this business about replacement, I don't understand. I really don't. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. And again, this shows how lacking we are here in America. The oldest continuous residential place, unfortunately, I have to give them credit. I can't stand the joint, but it's the truth. St. Augustine, Florida. That is the oldest continuous habitation in the United States. And do you know who basically built St. Augustine? Spanish conquistadors and Africans. Or I guess you could say African Spaniards or black Spaniards, because you had African soldiers and sailors and you had African slaves. Yeah, because see, Spain and Portugal, sometimes they were one country and sometimes they were apart, basically. But it's the same thing, same Iberian Peninsula. And starting from the 1300s, they went down to Africa or went around, you know, you had it in school, right? The Gama, Magellan, all that good stuff. Well, they started going around the continent of Africa, which was damn close. And before that, you had the Africans in Spain and Portugal for what, 800 years. So, yeah, black folks was there. We came over with the Spanish conquistadors. We didn't come with the Mayflower. We got here before the Mayflower. Now, because of the fact that for far too long, history in this country was basically taught by jackasses, with some exceptions. And I say jackasses because they really didn't teach you a damn thing. But now we know better. See, before, to find the stuff that I'm talking to you about now, you would have to go into the Library of Congress. Now, all the things that I'm saying here, you can go right down to the Library of Congress or call it up on your internet, right? And you'll find the truth to what I'm saying. But yeah, the first people, aside from Native Americans, because they were the first ones, but aside from them, the first people in this country were Spaniards and Africans. We came with the Spaniards. And as I said before, some of us were enslaved people. Many of us were soldiers, sailors, and property owners. So replacement to what? I mean, who the hell is replacing who? See, this gets into the thing about CRT. Because basically what CRT is saying is that since the time that the English took over what became the United States, you've had a severe race was a big problem. And that's basically all CRT says. Now, it was supposed to say it on the level of, pre-law college students, right? Not in anybody's third grade classroom. But since you people, and I say you people, I'm talking about you Trumpsters and you people that are just scared of history, you want to make an issue about it, maybe we should. Because apparently that's the only way truth gets a hearing in today's America. So this business, like I said, you're talking about replace. How can I replace somebody? I've already been here. I'm already here. So how the hell am I replacing you? This lady I'm talking about, this congresswoman who's a Republican, what the hell is her name? Oh, goodness. It's Stefanik, right? That don't sound like it was on the Mayflower. See? So maybe the question needs to be asked, who are you here replacing? Now, I know I was here before the Mayflower. I know you weren't here. I haven't seen any Eastern European names on the ship's list of the Mayflower. So who the hell were you replacing? Number one. And number two, why in the hell does it make a damn bit of difference? Well, I'll tell you why it makes a difference to you. Because somebody started up this thing about, we have a crisis in immigration, right? Well, here it is, okay? In spite of what you choose to believe, nobody wants to come here, okay, to this so-called United States. No one wants to come here. Listen to me very carefully, because I know that there are some people out there that just want to twist things around. I will say it for a third time. Nobody's breaking their butt to come here to the United States, except people from certain South American or Latin American countries, Africa, parts of Africa, okay, and Eastern Europe. And of course, since we went over there and stabilized the Middle East, yeah, you have an amount of people coming who come here from the Middle East, okay? In other words, people who are leaving a troubled situation to come here, right? But when you're talking about in terms of the Western world, you don't have busloads of people coming from Palma de Mallorca, Spain, or Marseille, France. Not even that many from Great Britain, or Norway, or Denmark, or Sweden. When's the last time you heard anybody talking German? It's probably on Times Square because they're tourists. So you need to be careful when you say things, because another problem that we have, especially with people on the right, they like to talk about stuff that they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. I worry about. I used to make a ritual of watching his show every week. What's his name? Bill Maher. And he's kind of slipping into that bag too. I don't know what it is, but in America, now I'm not talking about Europe, but in America, the more conservative people become, the less they know what the hell they're talking about. I find this to be, it's almost a regular theorem, But yeah, that's what that's all about. Now, it's just like you have these folks in Texas and New Mexico, Arizona, and they're crying about the immigrants. And see, again, this is what happens when you don't learn history, okay? Believe me, computer science is important. Math is extremely important, right? But things like writing, literature, history, that's what you need as a society to get along in the world, right? You'd be surprised how much bloodshed would have been spared if Americans just paid a little more attention to their own history. Because it's very, very difficult living in a world you don't understand yourself. You're not even trying to understand yourself. So how in the hell can you understand anybody else? But yeah, those little red states, or they want to be red states, like Arizona, Texas. Texas is pathetic, but that's another story. But you know, that anti-immigrant kick that they're on. Oh, those people coming across the border, oh, they're so terrible. Now, number one, I want somebody to explain to me what the hell Donald Trump ever knew about the American southwestern border. You know, this guy is from freaking Queens, for God's sake. He don't know anything about that. However, he tuned in to the bigotry and bigotry that many folks in Texas and Arizona and New Mexico have towards people from south of the border. And you have to realize something, those are the same people, they have been there for over 10,000 years, okay? Those are the same people that intermixed with the Spaniards when they came to colonize. Quite frankly, historically, America was the intruder. Mainly those folks from Tennessee and Kentucky that wanted to spread slavery, and they wanted that territory, and those other folks that believed in that thing called manifest destiny. So what you did, you started a war, took the people's land, and then told them, get the hell out of here for most practical intents and purposes. Which is, I've always found it strange in the Latino community, that part of the Latino community, because remember, Latinos, like anyone else, they have their own different ideas. They even come from different places. There's a difference between a Cuban and somebody from the Dominican Republic, right? I don't expect a person with a Cuban background to feel the same way about things that my cousins from the Dominican Republic might feel, okay? Because generally now, don't get me wrong, generally, it starts off with the same experience, that experience being the Native American people, right? They were here, and then they were basically taken over by the Spaniards, Spanish and Portuguese, right? That holds for South America, that holds for the Caribbean, that holds for the whole ball of wax. But then within that colonization, you had different things going on. Here on the mainland, you had people basically, Mexico. Texas was a province of Mexico. And the United States basically took it over. You ripped the people off of their land. You know, I'm not saying anything new. Abraham Lincoln said the same thing. So did General Grant, Ulysses S. Grant. It was a trumped-up war because primarily, well, two types of people in America at that time: the people that wanted to expand slavery, and the people that believed in this thing of manifest destiny. You know, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, right? And that's what caused the war, the Mexican-American War. Hell, most Americans don't even know what the hell the Mexican-American War was. But that's how this whole thing started. And so now you have these folks in Texas, a little bit in Southern California, but primarily Texas and Arizona. That seems to be the hotbed of anti-Latinos, those organizations and groups. And they're screaming because of the fact they're angry because the people who originally lived on the land, right, they want the opportunity to go back and forth. The same thing they've been doing for the last 10, 15,000 years. And I might be wrong on my calendar there, because I believe it's much longer, it's probably longer than 10,000 years. But see, that is the situation. That's what happened. So that's why I say you need to know what the hell you're talking about before you want to try and burn somebody's house down. Because that's what we're heading for in this country, thanks to the Republican Party. So when I see a Latino person, I'm a Republican, just like they got that lady down there. She's running for, supposedly in a district, and she's running as a Republican. You know, nice looking lady, she talks nice. I don't understand her logic. I don't understand people like that. You have a party, the base of that party, I tell you quite frankly, I didn't know such hatred on the part of some white Americans existed towards people, Hispanic people. I didn't know it was so intense. I didn't know this, believe it or not, until I joined the Navy, and until I got stationed in North Florida. That was the worst mistake of my life. And I love the Navy. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I would be damned if I had to do it a second time if I would go to Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. I'll never forget it. And such hatred, I'm not even going to get into the nasty names that they had for Hispanics, for Jews. Now, at that time, I was a kickboxer, and nobody ever called me the N-word to my face when I was in that unit. But I heard it was used in connection with me when I wasn't around, But that being in North Florida, kind of expected. But the tirade against Jews and against Latinos, oh my God, I will never forget that. Supposedly, my immediate boss in the operations department was a Hispanic brother from, where was Rodriguez from? I believe he was from Texas. No, I think he was from Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, sweet guy, man, beautiful guy, very good guy. And the stuff that the Anglos in that department put him through, and not to mention the anti-Semitic cracks. I made a bad name for myself, which I'm proud of, because I took it straight up to the CO. Seriously. I'm not going to get too deep into it, because that's the one sad point of my naval career. Other than that, I was scared quite a few times when, because that was back in the days when we was worrying about some fanatic trying to blow us out of the water. But besides that, I loved my time in the Navy. I truly did. But that last unit there in Jacksonville, I'll never forget it. It was hell. It truly was. See, Florida's kind of funny because Florida, the further north you are in Florida, it's like being in Mississippi or Alabama. The further south you go in Florida, I'll be straight up, it's like the Bronx. And, excuse me. Okay. As I was saying, it's like the Bronx, further south you get. Now, you might say, well, they have a large Cuban community in Florida, and that's true. But you have to remember, that's a whole different, Cuban community is a whole different ball game because, see, they're still fighting the 60s. And a lot of them, especially the older people there, they're still fighting Jack Kennedy for not bombing Castro at the Bay of Pigs, see, which of course would have gotten us and started World War III, thermonuclear war, which I say thank God we didn't. But that's why you find so many Cuban Republicans or Cuban American Republicans. But other than that, they speak Spanish, but it's a whole different ball game. Now, I let you in on something. Throughout the Caribbean, Castro and Cuba, they're seen as heroes, okay? So you take that for what it's worth. But that's why I say it's different. You know, people from Venezuela, for example, because unfortunately, the government there, they made a hash out of stuff. And, you know, plus I don't know how much American quiet intervention into the economy in Venezuela helped to really screw things up. But I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole story of the banana wars and what's his name, Smedley Butler and all that good stuff. Smedley was the most decorated Marine in history, and he always said that he was a muscle man for, what was it, American Fruit? One of those big corporations down there. But that's another story. So I'm saying all this to try and get folks to understand. There's a lot of streams of hatred, unfortunately, that we have here in America. And the reason that those streams of hate flourish at certain times is because we don't take the time to learn about who we are, right? I give you an example. Now you have all these young brothers and sisters out here, you know, hip hop, rap, what have you. You have their own recording studios in many cases. Beautiful. Who's responsible for that? Well, of course, black kids themselves who make the music, who perform the art. But in terms of having crossover value, making good money, who's responsible for that primarily? Italian Americans. Yeah, right. A lot of them might come out and disagree with me. I understand that. But historically, if you check it out, you'll find that what I'm saying is correct. Not because it's me saying it, but because those are the facts. Speakeasies, right? And the gangsters had those places, right? They needed people to play music. And they found that black music was great. You know, they kidnapped my man Fats Waller. You might remember Fats Waller. If you've ever seen the movie Stormy Weather, the piano playing brother. Well, back in the 20s and 30s and early 40s, I mean, you wanted a good piano man with excellent lyrics, you went to Fats Waller. Al Capone, for a gag, he had Fats kidnapped. Took him to a speakeasy joint because it was, I forgot whose, I think it was his birthday, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Capone's birthday. And he took off the blindfold and he just had my man play. And every time Fats would stop playing, Capone was shoving $100 bills in his pocket, just like that, right? And I think he kept them for about 2 or 3. Well, you know, back in those days, people partying for days, sometimes weeks. You know, you go to a party Saturday night, leave Sunday afternoon, you might come back next week and the party's still going on. But that's how black folks were able to get into mainstream music, right? Primarily the Italians, along with the Jews, and sometimes with the Irish, because you had a lot of great Irish dancers who, like Jimmy, what's his name, Jimmy Cagney. He picked it up from watching the black kids in Lower Manhattan, watching them dance. They used to call it clog dancing. It's something that they brought from down south. So see, we owe each other in this country, and we helped each other a lot. So when this woman talks about, and she's espousing the same garbage that one of those ignorant clowns that come on one of those right-wing stations shoots them, you know, talks about, right? She belittles herself. She degrades herself when she talks that nonsense about replacement theory. For an elected official to chatter that nonsense is simply a sign of how intellectually degraded she has allowed herself to become just because she thinks that sounding like that will get her in good with people that support Trump. And that is sad. Now, that's just like this clown McCarthy, the minority leader. And he wants to be the majority leader in the House so bad. And I think that's pathetic. Because in the first place, if I was a Republican in the House, the last person that I would want to be majority leader, listen to what the name implies, majority leader, right? Just like Pelosi now, because you have a majority Democratic thing in the House, and she won their internal election to head the majority, to be, I mean, yeah, to head the House of Representatives. Now, like I say, there have been plenty of times I have disagreed with Pelosi. But I'll say for Nancy, she don't crawl for nobody. And I don't understand why why do you think you have to crawl for this guy Trump? You know, if you're so scared, if your people in your district that you represent, if you are so afraid of these people, You know, maybe a part of the problem is because you weren't too much as a congressperson from the get-go. You know, you're worried about MAGA and all this other crap. McCarthy, you were the congressperson for that district, for that congressional district, for your congressional district. Those people should know you. They should know who you are and what you stand for. And if you are so frightened of these people, your people, why the hell should you think that you should be the Speaker of the House? In other words, that, you know, the majority, if, and I say this in all seriousness, God forbid, if Republicans take the majority in the House of Representatives, why the hell should you think you should be? Why do you think you should be the majority leader? Because you're not a leader. You know, Trump says boo to you. The man almost kills you. That's what I don't, you know, that's something else I have a hard time. These Republicans, you are the sons and daughters of the guys, most of y'all are the sons and daughters of the guys that landed at Normandy. You know, you took Omaha Beach. You landed in Okinawa, in Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima. You fought the Nazis from one end of the European continent all the way to Central Europe. Those are the people who you come from. Those are your dads. And you mean to tell me that you're going to let a draft-dodging, well, a draft-dodging wuss like Donald Trump, you're going to let a creep like that scare you? And let him go around your back and go into your district in such a way so that now he has you afraid of your own voters, your own district. Come on, man. And you're going to let him destroy our democracy? Shit, man, come on. You know, that's what people find, I guess, I hate to say it, but people on my side of the fence, that's what we find so, you know, so wacky about you. You know, that's just like, what's his face down there, the Santos in Florida. Now, I understand that this guy was a naval officer. He was JAG, all right, a lawyer. He was a Navy lawyer, from what I understand. But he still wore the uniform, right? I think. But damn, and yeah, that's another thing. Some of you clowns even wore the uniform. And you gonna let someone like Donald Trump make you afraid? Afraid of Trump? Why, because he got money? I mean, come on, man. You know as well as I do. Any money Trump guy, he got it because he flam people or what have you. That doesn't mean a damn thing. But your voters, you got this guy, you have him so afraid, I mean, you're so afraid of him that he's telling you all to, well, let's talk about the IRS and the FBI. I can't get over that. Republican congresspeople and Republican senators attacking the FBI. And you made a big deal. This is the last point I'm going to make. All kinds of hell you raised. Oh, look at those people with Black Lives Matter. Oh, they hate the police. No, we have situations in this country where you have some police, just like in every other organization, who are no damn good. And you got some police that are excellent. But unfortunately, the ones that are no damn good were killing unarmed black people. So, yeah, black folks got a little upset behind that. Summer before last, or excuse me, last summer. So, yeah, that's understandable. Human beings have a tendency to get angry when you kill them for no reason. And killing a person who is unarmed, yeah, that counts as killing for no reason. But we don't want the FBI abolished. We don't want the CIA abolished. And we don't hunt for police to kill and to inflict harm upon. Okay? But you do. Behind Donald Trump, you have basically let this man put you in a position where you are trying to destroy law enforcement. And you know damn well those guys they're just doing their job, number one. And number two, you know damn good and well nobody has any business having nuclear secrets in their basement, even if they were president. And that was 19 months after he left the White House. So why should he still continue to have those top secret documents? And yes, do I know what I'm talking about? You're damn right I do. I spent half my time in the Navy with the Defense Intelligence Agency. I have a TS SCI, Cosmic. In other words, that's a top secret clearance, which meant I was able to look at the same stuff that the president had to handle. If I was read in on a particular project. And even when you have a top secret clearance, it doesn't mean that you can just look at all the top secret stuff. If you are assigned to a particular project, then yeah. But if you're not, it's a need to know, which is a polite government way of saying none of your damn business. And if he had declassified that stuff, there would be a paper chain. On this day, the president, in conjunction with his NSC, et cetera, he decided to declassify this information for this particular reason. And it makes a paper chain, right? There's no paper chain showing where Trump declassified anything. So you guys, you are willing to tolerate anything from this man, up to including treason. You know, he is on the same level as the Rosenbergs. Remember the Rosenbergs, Ethel and Julius? Now some people think that they may have been innocent. I don't know. But he is on that level, he's on their level since we have found out that he had all this top secret stuff in his basement. And you are willing to tolerate this nonsense. That's what I can't, a Republican, rock rib Republicans. And you are willing to tolerate a freaking spy for all practical intents and purposes. Or at the least, you are willing to tolerate a Russian plant. And that is what I have a hard time understanding. And instead of you, from the get-go, when you saw this guy coming, instead of you going amongst your constituents and telling them what they needed to know, that this guy was a freaking phony, that as of 2014, he was still a registered Democrat. But you didn't do that. You caved in every chance you had. When you could have stood up to him, you caved in. And now you're like, oh, well, I can't go against MAGA because, you know, my constituents, they'll be mean to me. They'll say mean things about me. You know? Come on, damn it. Your daddy landed in Okinawa, and this is how you behave? Yeah, you're damn right. America is in trouble. And right now, unfortunately, you are the source of that trouble. I won't even say Trump, because you have allowed this clown to get away with it. And that's the problem that we're in. And we have to get ourselves out of this if we still wish to have a country. Listen, folks, I want to thank you for allowing me to come into your homes. Have a great weekend, and take care of each other. God bless. And we will see you same time, same channel, same place, the Concerned Forum. Oh, and when you see this on YouTube, go ahead and give us a little check. Hope you like it. But whether you like it or not, we're always going to tell you the truth. God bless. See you next time.